Hello, soap opera enthusiasts. The drama on The Bold and the Beautiful is reaching explosive new heights this Friday, February 6. And trust us when we say that you absolutely cannot miss what's unfolding in the Forrester family. The secrets, the passion, and the dangerous territory that Taylor Hayes is treading into will have massive repercussions for everyone involved. Let's dive deep into what promises to be one of the most jaw-dropping episodes of the season. The forbidden romance intensifies. Despite receiving a harsh and uncompromising ultimatum from her daughter, Taylor Hayes finds herself completely unable to stay away from Deacon Sharp. The chemistry between these two has become undeniable, and the magnetic pull they feel toward each other has reached a fever pitch that neither can control. What started as unexpected attraction has now blossomed into something far more intense and all-consuming. Taylor knows the risks involved, understands the potential consequences, and is fully aware of what she stands to lose. Yet, her heart is leading her down a path that logic cannot redirect. Friday's episode will showcase another steamy encounter between Taylor and Deacon, one that pushes boundaries even further than their previous meetings. The tension that's been building between them will finally reach a boiling point as they share passionate moments that leave little doubt about the depth of their connection. Deacon, who has been trying to be respectful of Taylor's position and the complications surrounding their relationship, will find his resolve crumbling in the face of his genuine feelings. These two are playing with fire, and the flames are getting dangerously close to consuming everything in their path. The physical chemistry between Taylor and Deacon will be on full display during their secret rendezvous. Viewers can expect sizzling scenes that showcase just how powerful their attraction has become. The way they look at each other, the electric energy when they're in the same room, and the inevitable passionate kisses that follow will make it abundantly clear that this isn't just a fleeting infatuation. What's developing between them appears to be genuine emotional connection paired with undeniable physical desire. The question isn't whether they'll give in to temptation, it's when and what the fallout will be when they do. Steffy's impossible position. Steffy Forrester Finnegan has made her stance crystal clear. Continue seeing Deacon and Taylor will be cut off from her family. This wasn't an empty threat or a moment of anger. Steffy meant every word. She's drawn a line in the sand and she expects her mother to respect it. However, Steffy is quickly discovering that ultimatums don't always work the way we hope they will, especially when matters of the heart are involved. Her mother is an adult capable of making her own decisions, no matter how misguided those decisions might be. The stakes for Taylor couldn't be higher. By pursuing this relationship with Deacon, she's risking her connection with Steffy, her time with her precious granddaughter Kelly Spencer, and her bond with her grandson, Hayes Finnegan. These relationships are the foundation of Taylor's life, the people who bring her the most joy and meaning. The thought of losing access to her family should be enough to make her walk away from Deacon without looking back. Yet somehow, in this moment, staying away from him feels completely impossible. Her heart is overruling her head, and she's making choices that could alter the course of her family relationships forever. What makes this situation even more heartbreaking is that Taylor isn't being reckless for the sake of rebellion. She genuinely has developed deep feelings for Deacon, and the connection they share feels real and meaningful to her. After her breakup with Ridge, Taylor found herself in a vulnerable place, and Deacon appeared at exactly the right time to fill that void. Now she's caught between her love for her family and these unexpected but powerful emotions for a man who, by all accounts, should be off limits. It's a classic soap opera dilemma, but the emotional weight behind it is very real. Ridge enters the picture. As if the situation wasn't complicated enough, Ridge Forrester is about to learn the shocking truth about Taylor's new romantic interest. During what might start as a casual conversation with his daughter, Ridge will likely express concern about Taylor's well-being following their separation. He may wonder if she's lonely, if she's adjusting okay, or if she needs any support during this transitional period. Ridge still cares deeply about Taylor, even though their romantic relationship didn't work out, and he wants to ensure she's doing well emotionally. Steffy, however, will find herself in an incredibly difficult position. She's been carrying this explosive secret about her mother and Deacon, and the weight of that knowledge is becoming too much to bear. By the end of this week, Steffy will finally break her silence and reveal to Ridge that Taylor has fallen for the worst possible person she could have chosen. The revelation that Taylor has developed romantic feelings for Deacon Sharp will hit Ridge like a freight train. Of all the men in Los Angeles, of all the potential suitors Taylor could have pursued, Deacon represents perhaps the most problematic choice imaginable. Ridge's reaction to this news will likely be multifaceted. There will be shock at the unexpected pairing concern for Taylor's judgment and emotional state, and probably some anger at Deacon for pursuing his ex-wife. Ridge knows Deacon's history, understands his complicated past, and is fully aware of the man's connection to Sheila Carter, which brings us to the most dangerous element of this entire situation. The fact that Taylor is romantically involved with Sheila's ex-husband and current friend creates a powder keg situation that could explode at any moment. The Sheila factor. Perhaps the most terrifying aspect of Taylor and Deacon's romance is how it will affect Sheila Carter when she inevitably discovers the truth. Steffy's fears about provoking Sheila's wrath are completely justified and grounded in years of traumatic history with this dangerous woman. Sheila has demonstrated time and time again that she's capable of extreme violence when she feels betrayed, threatened, or disrespected. Her jealous tendencies, combined with her unstable mental state, make her one of the most unpredictable and dangerous individuals in the soap opera universe. Deacon and Sheila have built an unusual friendship over recent years, one that surprised many viewers and characters alike. While their relationship isn't romantic anymore, there's still a connection and mutual understanding between them. Sheila has shown possessive tendencies where Deacon is concerned, and discovering that he's fallen for Taylor Hayes, a woman Sheila has targeted in the past, could trigger a catastrophic reaction. The history between Sheila and Taylor is violent and traumatic, making this love triangle even more volatile than your typical soap opera complication. Steffy's warning to her mother about Sheila reverting to a worse version of herself isn't hyperbole or unnecessary drama. This is a legitimate safety concern based on Sheila's documented history of violence manipulation and complete disregard for consequences when she feels wronged. If Sheila discovers that Deacon has been sneaking around with Taylor, engaging in passionate encounters and developing genuine feelings, there's no predicting how she might respond. The best-case scenario involves verbal confrontations and emotional manipulation. The worst-case scenario is too terrifying to contemplate, but history suggests that Sheila is capable of almost anything when pushed to her breaking point. The path forward. The truth is that there's no easy resolution to this complicated situation. Deacon and Taylor could choose to pump the brakes on their relationship, step back from the intensity of their connection, and try to maintain appropriate boundaries moving forward. This would be the sensible choice, the option that prioritizes safety and family harmony over personal desires. However, as we've seen throughout soap opera history, telling two people with genuine feelings to simply stop caring about each other rarely works out as planned. Taylor will need to make some incredibly difficult decisions in the coming days and weeks. Does she choose the safe path that keeps her family intact but leaves her heart unfulfilled, or does she follow her feelings for Deacon despite the very real dangers and consequences that come with that choice? There's no perfect answer, and whatever she decides will have significant repercussions that extend far beyond her personal life. Steffy Ridge, Kelly Hayes, and potentially many others will be affected by the choices Taylor makes regarding this relationship. Deacon, too, finds himself at a crossroads. He's worked hard to rebuild his reputation and establish a legitimate life for himself. His relationship with his daughter, Hope Logan, has improved dramatically, and he's managed to maintain his friendship with Sheila without major incident. Getting involved with Taylor could jeopardize all of that progress. Yet when the heart wants what it wants, logic and reason often take a back seat. Deacon appears genuinely smitten with Taylor, and walking away from what could be a meaningful relationship might feel like denying himself happiness he deserves after years of struggles and setbacks. What this means for viewers. The Bold and the Beautiful continues to prove why it remains one of daytime television's most compelling dramas. This storyline has everything that makes soap operas irresistible: forbidden romance, family conflict, dangerous obsession, and consequences that will ripple through multiple families. Friday's episode promises to deliver intense emotional moments, steamy romantic scenes, and the kind of shocking revelations that will have fans talking for weeks to come. The convergence of Taylor and Deacon's passionate connection with Steffy's desperate attempts to protect her family and the looming threat of Sheila's inevitable discovery creates a perfect storm of drama that will keep viewers on the edge of their seats. Mark your calendars for Friday, February 6th, because this is appointment television that you absolutely cannot afford to miss. The sneaky sizzling between Taylor and Deacon will continue to build toward an explosion that will change everything for everyone involved. Get ready for chaos, confrontations, and consequences that no one saw coming. Next, the world of daytime drama continues to surprise us with unexpected turns. And one of the most intriguing developments on The Bold and the Beautiful has been the evolution of a character who was never meant to stay long. What began as a brief appearance has transformed into something far more complex, leaving both viewers and the actress herself navigating uncharted territory. An unplanned journey to daytime stardom. Sydney Bullock never imagined that her foray into the world of The Bold and the Beautiful would extend beyond a handful of episodes. When she first stepped onto the set, her understanding was crystal clear. This was a temporary gig, a quick in-and-out assignment that would see her character fulfill a specific narrative purpose before disappearing into the background. The plan seemed straightforward enough. Dylan would appear, deliver her confession about the Luna incident, and then fade away as the storyline moved forward. That's how these things typically work in the soap opera universe, after all. Guest characters arrive, serve their function in advancing the plot, and then exit stage left. But the universe of daytime television had different plans entirely. What was supposed to be a brief cameo has morphed into something far more substantial, transforming Bullock into a recurring presence on the show. The actress herself has expressed genuine surprise at this development, acknowledging in recent interviews that she finds herself learning new dimensions of her character with each passing episode. Dylan has become something of an enigma, not just to the devoted fans who tune in daily, but to Bullock herself, who continues to peel back layers of a personality that grows more complex with each script she receives. The evolution of Dylan's storyline. Dylan's introduction to The Bold and the Beautiful came through an unconventional route. She first materialized as Hayes' art teacher, a seemingly innocent professional figure who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. This initial appearance took a dramatic turn when Luna, in one of her increasingly unhinged moments, took Dylan hostage. It was a terrifying ordeal that could have been the end of Dylan's story, a cautionary tale about the dangers that lurk in the glamorous world of Los Angeles high society. However, Dylan's narrative didn't conclude with a rescue. Instead, the character returned to the canvas with a bombshell revelation that would cement her importance to the ongoing drama. In a moment of raw honesty and moral courage, Dylan approached Elektra and Will to confess a terrible truth. She was the driver who had struck Luna during the latter's desperate attempt to escape and secure her freedom. This confession demonstrated a complexity to Dylan's character that went beyond the simple role of victim or bystander. She possessed a conscience, a sense of responsibility, and the courage to face the consequences of her actions even when those consequences could prove devastating. With what she believed was closure on her storyline, Bullock made plans to embark on a European adventure. She had done her duty to the show, delivered her character's crucial confession, and assumed that her time in the world of The Bold and the Beautiful had reached its natural conclusion. The actress packed her bags, arranged her itinerary, and prepared to explore the historic streets and romantic vistas of Europe, thinking her soap opera chapter was firmly closed. But then came the phone call that changed everything. The producers weren't finished with Dylan's story, not by a long shot. They had identified something compelling in the character, some quality that resonated with viewers and demanded further exploration. Bullock was summoned back to the studio, where she discovered that Dylan's journey was about to take an even darker and more emotionally complex turn. A character living on the edge. The new storyline revealed a side of Dylan that no one had anticipated. This young woman, who had seemed put together enough to work as an art teacher, was actually living in precarious circumstances. Dylan was homeless, sleeping in her car, struggling to maintain any semblance of stability while keeping up appearances in her professional life. This revelation added profound depth to her character, raising questions about how someone falls into such dire straits and what circumstances led to this point in her life. The living situation became untenable, and that's when Elektra stepped in with what seemed like a compassionate solution. She encouraged Dylan to move in with Will, offering her a roof over her head and a chance to get back on her feet. It was meant to be an act of kindness, a helping hand extended to someone in desperate need. But as often happens in the soap opera world, good intentions can pave the way to complicated and messy situations. Dylan's presence in Will's living space has created tensions, stirred up emotions, and led to scenarios that are causing ripples throughout the interconnected web of relationships that defines the bold and the beautiful. Mysteries of the past. One of the most intriguing aspects of Dylan's character is how much remains unknown about her background. The writers have been deliberately mysterious about her past, dropping hints and breadcrumbs, but never quite revealing the full picture. In a particularly revealing conversation with Will, Dylan disclosed that her mother remains unaware of her homeless situation. This small detail has opened up a Pandora's box of speculation among the show's dedicated fanbase. The revelation about Dylan's mother has sparked wild theories throughout the B&B community. Some devoted viewers have begun connecting dots that may or may not exist, wondering if Dylan could be connected to one of the show's most notorious figures, Sheila Carter. The theory has gained traction in online forums and social media discussions, with fans pointing to various clues and coincidences that might support such a connection. Could Dylan be a long-lost daughter, a relative Sheila never mentioned? The speculation runs rampant, fueled by the soap opera tradition of shocking family revelations. Meanwhile, another faction of viewers has embraced an entirely different theory. They've suggested that Dylan might actually be Luna in disguise, having somehow survived the incident and assumed a new identity. This theory plays into the soap opera convention that death is rarely permanent, and that characters can return in unexpected ways. Proponents of this theory point to similarities in behavior patterns and the convenient timing of Dylan's appearance following Luna's disappearance from the canvas. Dylan's true nature hero, or homewrecker. The question that dominates much of the discussion around Dylan centers on her fundamental character. Is she genuinely a good person who's made some poor choices? Or is she potentially following in the footsteps of the show's more villainous figures? Sydney Bullock has been adamant in interviews that her alter ego possesses a fundamentally good heart. According to the actress, Dylan isn't a schemer or a master manipulator. She's simply a young woman navigating difficult circumstances while dealing with very human emotions and vulnerabilities. The complication, of course, comes in the form of Dylan's growing feelings for Will. While Elektra was away on business, an absence that created the perfect storm of opportunity and temptation, Dylan found herself drawn closer, her benefactor. Bullock describes it as an internal tug-of-war, with Dylan genuinely wanting to respect boundaries and honor Elektra's relationship, but simultaneously finding herself unable to ignore the chemistry and connection she feels with Will. When Will appeared to reciprocate some of that interest, whether intentionally or not, Dylan found herself swept up in emotions that became increasingly difficult to control. What is a girl to do? Bullock posed rhetorically during her interview, capturing the essence of Dylan's dilemma. It's a situation that many viewers can relate to on some level, the experience of developing feelings for someone who's unavailable, of trying to do the right thing while battling against emotional impulses that feel beyond one's control. Bullock was quick to draw a line between Dylan and Luna, emphasizing that her character would never cross into the territory of obsession or violence that defined Luna's descent into villainy. Dylan isn't holding anyone hostage, isn't plotting elaborate schemes, and isn't willing to hurt people to get what she wants. She's simply a flawed human being who's made mistakes, who sometimes allows her heart to overrule her head, and who exists in that morally gray area that makes for compelling television. The actress described Dylan as having a little bit of rebellion in her personality, enough to make her interesting and unpredictable, but not enough to transform her into a full-fledged antagonist. She characterized Dylan as being maybe a little looser on the moral high ground unintentionally, which suggests a character who doesn't always make the best choices, but who isn't motivated by malice or evil intent. What lies ahead? As Dylan's story continues to unfold, viewers are left wondering where this character's journey will take her next. Will she ultimately prove herself to be the good person Bullock insists she is? Or will circumstances push her into darker territory? One particularly intriguing possibility that fans have begun discussing involves Ivy's blackmail plot. If Dylan were to discover what Ivy has been up to, using coercion and threats to force someone out of town, would she have the courage and moral fortitude to expose the scheme? Could Dylan become an unlikely hero in that situation, using her knowledge to protect innocent parties from Ivy's manipulations? Sydney Bullock's unexpected extended run on The Bold and the Beautiful serves as a reminder that soap operas thrive on the unpredictable, on characters who surprise us, and storylines that evolve in unexpected directions. What began as a brief appearance has blossomed into a complex multi-layered character study that continues to captivate audiences and challenge both the actors and the writers to explore new dimensions of storytelling.